Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
नमस्कार। हम लोग फिर से गीता पे चर्चा करने के लिए इकट्ठे हुए हैं। प्रजानंद स्वामी जी हैं हमारे साथ एंड गीतांजलि गोयल मैम हैं हमारे साथ। नमस्कार स्वामी जी, नमस्कार गीतांजलि जी। तो लास्ट टाइम हम लोगों ने खत्म किया था, वहां पे मैं आपको पूछ रही थी कि धृतराष्ट्र का, दुर्योधन का, द्रोणाचार्य का ये जो नाम है, ये सिंबोलिज्म के हिसाब से अगर देखेंगे तो गीता में उनके नाम का भी एक मीनिंग बताया गया है कि क्या वो उल्लेख करते हैं, तो उसके बारे में कुछ अगर बताएंगे आप।
Yes,
I stole the please.
वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Four names as an example. One is, of course, Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra blind and a little frustrated. Blind to the faults of his progeny, sons. Blind to what is happening around him. A king is supposed to be even chara chakshu, ought to know whatever happens in distant places of his kingdom also through spies, chara chakshu. And Dhritarashtra was blind to the doings of people in his own palace. And Gandhari followed him. If Gandhari had not followed him, then she would have informed him things in a proper manner. Vidura used to tell. Vidura was the prime minister. He used to tell. But then his son was not listening. Dhritarashtra may not have liked Vidura's advice, but he always followed them. But his son was usurping the power. Dhritarashtra was a caretaker till Yudhishthira was mature enough to take the reins. So this situation frustrated him, that I am a caretaker for a boy. This happens with many rulers. But to be blind to the faults of those who are very near and dear, this is a fault many of us have. This leads to great tragedies in family. They don't follow what their children are doing or relatives are doing, immediate relatives. So this blindness to those who are close by, that is a psychological state which this Dhritarashtra's blindness and Gandhari is following him. This indicates. Then there is this Duryodhana and Dushasana. Duryodhana means one who fights through foul means. Duryodha. Yodha is a fighter. Duryodhana Dur means foul. So Duryodhana. All the Kauravas had this Du in front of them. So it is because, except for probably Vikarna. So this is because that evil tendencies which they took pride of, see, they considered goodness as weakness and evil traits as strengths. These also we find these days many people. Those who fight through evil means, foul means. Even from this school, college days, there are such students, teachers. So this gives a bad orientation to the society. If such people come into leadership, then the absolute system is corrupt through them, through their intentions and actions. So the officers, they very quickly grasp what their leaders want. So, and they adjust accordingly. So this happens. So that's why Duryodhana, who we can understand how he tried to eliminate Pandavas, all the while pretending to be their brother. And next is Dushasana. That is, name itself is very indicative. Shasan is a rule, government and administration. And Dushasana is a bad administration. So Duryodhana gets the company of Dushasana. Bad administration gives evil and bad advice to the government. And who they fight through bad means, within and without. The conceived enemies within and the real enemies without. This whole system of blindness to the fault of near and dear ones, bad fighting through foul means, and then bad administration. The entire thing corrupts the whole nation. So this is what Krishna, the divine intervention, wants to remove. And the fourth name is Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira. So Yudhi is a good sense. And Shta indicates firmness, firmly established. Yudhishthira. Established in good sense. Good sense is, you can say that it is wisdom also. So that those who are wise within the nation, they should become the king. Arjuna was good in a battle, but not as a governor, means as a ruler. Arjuna was a little lacking. So Arjuna fought the war, but did not govern the empire. The ruler was Yudhishthira, the wise one. So the brave ones fight. The country free is also a country of the brave, they say. So during comparatively recent incident was, Garibaldi was a great Italian leader. He fought for Italian unification. He fought with many people who were in authority in small areas. When the unification happened, the man who mobilized people for that unified Italy, Mazzini, or Garibaldi, who oversaw the battles, both of them did not take the reins of administration. It was a third person,
Emmanuel
who was very wise. So Yudhishthira is that type of person who is very wise. So this
स्वामी जी सॉरी, मुझे ये पूछना है, अगर दुर्योधन का नाम का मीनिंग खराब है, दुशासन का नाम का मीनिंग तो हम आपने जैसे बताया है, इट्स नॉट पॉजिटिव, तो पेरेंट्स ने ये नाम कैसे रख दिया? That question comes.
Before they set a bad example, this might not be a bad name. It became a bad name after, like Ravana must have thought about something good, but it did not turn out to be like that. So before they lived their lives like that, setting a bad example, till then it was not. Today we can ask a parent, why did you give this name to your, it's an injustice to the child. You can say that. If somebody gives name of a conceived villain to their child, it is an injustice to the child. I heard somebody has given name of a great big cruel invader to their child, some actor couple. So that is an injustice to the child. Because, okay, he might not become like that, but he will be a target of ridicule by normal people because of his name when he goes to school or in society. So this is an injustice they are doing to their child if they are doing it now. That time there was no precedent, so it was okay. But as far as Mahabharata, see, Mahabharata is written by Vyasa. It is a piece of literature also, masterpiece rather of literature also. Other than being a scripture and an history and everything, the piece which is written is a piece of literature also. So he had to give those indicative names. Actually, Yudhishthira and many times Sri Krishna also call not Duryodhana, they call Suyodhana.
Okay, okay.
So the names might be slightly different in the real
Okay.
life. They are indicative in the piece of literature. This might be the reason.
Okay. Gitanjali ji, please.
I have a small interjection there. Some people say that, you know, Duryodhan could also means one who's difficult to fight. जिससे युद्ध करना कठिन है तो वो दुर्योधन, जिस पे शासन करना कठिन है वो दुशासन. So that interpretation could be the reason their parents gave them the name. But then the other interpretation is also there, that the one who is fights with false means and the one who rules with false means. So there can be multiple interpretations because it's a Sanskrit word. Sanskrit words sometimes have multiple interpretations. So some people interpret it that way, and they say Yudhishthir called him Suryodhan because he thought, you know, it was a taunt that you're not that difficult to fight with, we're easy to fight with, so we'll call you Suryodhan, like that. That is something I heard from somebody.
Ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. Ek satya, it is interpreted in different ways, many ways by the scholars.
True, true. Gitanjali ji, आपका सवाल?
जी, मेरा सवाल अगर इसी से हम जुड़ के चलें तो हम सभी के नाम जानना चाहिए. अर्जुन का क्या अर्थ है और नकुल, सहदेव, सबके नामों के अर्थ अगर हम देखें, और द्रौपदी का जो असल में नाम था वो क्या था? What was her real name?
These are small details, and small details are difficult ones. Yajnaseni was the real name. She was born out of a sacrificial fire, Yajna. So Yajnaseni was the real name. She was called Krishna also because her color was slightly dark, and she was considered to be extremely beautiful. So she married to 5 people. So that is Panjali, and Draupadi because Drupada's daughter is Draupadi. So that's why I told these are small details, and small details are more difficult. Arjuna means as Riju. Riju is a straight. Arjuna is a straightforward one. Whatever he sees, whatever situation as he conceives, he will react immediately like a straightforward people these days also do. When he felt that he could not, Yudhishthira, he could not protect Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira scolded him, reprimanded him. What is the use of your Gandiva if you can't even protect your king? So he told, whoever says anything about Gandiva, I'll kill him. This is my vow. Then now I have to fulfill my vow. Krishna was aghast. What? In between a war you are fighting with, you are going to kill your own. The very purpose of the war is that Yudhishthira should become a ruler instead of Duryodhana, usurping all the powers. So he told Arjuna that say some bad things about Yudhishthira, that will be equal to killing him. Because if elders are bad things are told us, foul-mouthed like that, then it is equal to killing them. So Arjuna did that. Then he became very despondent again, saying, so the moods alternate. Shane rushta, shane tushta, rushta, tushta, shane, shane. So he became a very nirash, hatash, respondent, and told, oh, I abused my elder brother who is like a father to me. Now I will commit suicide. Krishna thought, now again we will lose the war if Arjuna is gone. So I'll have to fight then, and this avatara, uddesha of avatara is to make people alert, and instead of that I'll have to do things directly. So Arjuna was again told that you just praise yourself. Praising in front of others is like suicide only. Like that. So what I am saying is Arjuna was a very straightforward nature. Arjuna had a very straightforward nature in spite of infinite capacities that were hidden in him. And Nakula is, these days it is name of a mongoose, Nakula. But then he was supposed to be a great fighter with a sword. Swordsmanship was very great. So his fighting abilities might be indicated, like a mongoose can fight with even big animals. When it comes to that, it is not afraid. Maybe that. And all these names are like that, positive names. So you must note that in the Kaurava side, these are negative names. Dhritarashtra, who grabs the country. Like that. So, as you said, the interpretation can be he held the country together. Dhritarashtra, like that. So these things, they vary, that interpretations vary. It doesn't matter actually. So minor details are greater. Did I skip anything in your question?
Then we have Yudhishthir. Yudhishthir means the one who is sthir in the yudh, right? Does it mean that?
Yudhi is good sense.
Okay.
And like I said, in war also, he is steady, but he was never steady in war. He never wanted a war. It is Draupadi who wanted the war.
Right.
And Kundi. Yasyarthe Suyade Chatrani Tat Kaloyam Agata. When Krishna was going on a peace mission, Kundi says to him, the purpose for which a Kshatrani, a warrior class woman, gives birth to the children, it has come now. So tell great warriors, Bhima and Arjuna, that prepare for war. This peace talk is not the way now. Like that.
गुरु स्वामी जी, मुझे आपसे ये पूछना है कि प्रथम अध्याय में जो हम देखते हैं संजय धृतराष्ट्र के कुछ कन्वर्सेशन है और अर्जुन और कृष्ण के कन्वर्सेशन है, तो उसमें से लेसन क्या मिलता है प्रथम अध्याय से?
There is a slight misunderstanding also about the first chapter. It would be better to clear that first. People think this conversation between Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra also happened, like Krishna and Arjuna, right in the beginning of the war, before the war. That is not true. On the 10th day when Bhishma fell, then only Sanjaya rushed to the capital city to convey the news to Dhritarashtra directly. Till then, they were communicating by some mystic psychic ways. So, he rushed to the capital on the 10th day to convey directly the news physically that Bhishma has fallen. That was a big incident. One who Shishya of Parashurama and who could withstand all the assaults of even gods. So he has been defeated, he has fallen. He has not killed as such, but he has fallen. So this news was a very, very big news. It was like some American president or somebody being killed today, equivalent to that. So, or some nation being bombed, equal to that news. This was a big news. So he rushed. And their conversation, the conversation with Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya is on the 10th day. So many people say that Dhritarashtra is asking whether they have given up the intention to fight because they were in Kurukshetra, the Dharma Kshetra. That was not the question. The question was, say from the beginning. Kimakurvata means Samaveda Yutsova. When they assembled for that war, eager to fight, after that, what all happened? Tell me from the beginning. That was the meaning. It is not that whether they have given up the intention to fight or not. That is not the question. Because there was no question about that 10 days wars are over. The war of 10 days, fighting is over. Second is, when Sanjaya replies, so he naturally replies from the beginning because he has been given the boon by Vyasa that he can remember everything in detail. He can see things which are directly perceived by the eyes, and he can see things which are not directly perceived by the eyes but happening within the battlefield, and he can also see things which are within the minds of the warriors, what they are thinking and how they are planning to go ahead. All these things he can see. It was said like that. So the Sanjaya's answers are also accordingly. So the first part is that Duryodhana going to Dronacharya, not to Bhishma. Bhishma is the general. So GIC, general in command. So he will fight. But Dronacharya is not like that. His disciples are on both sides. And gurus love their disciples more than parents. So this is what up to Shankaracharya is told. So he goes to them, Dronacharya, and tell that, see, there are great warriors there. They are your disciples, and they have come to kill you. Drupada, you had pardoned and let him off, saved his life, spared his life, and he has come to kill you with all his army might. He even married his child to Pandavas so that he can ensure their support when the chance comes, occasion comes. And his son is the commander-in-chief there. So don't spare them. This is the intention of talking to Dronacharya. But Yudhishthira, Bhishma felt that this fellow is very anxious, worried. So I'll just boost his morale. So Bhishma blew the conch, Shankha first, so that anybody who is first in attack will win the war. That is the general principle in war. In Punjab also they say, Ladai Halleri, who attacks first will win. And then he explains that in our side also there are great Dharmanishta people, like Vikarnaya is there, and Kripacharya is there, Ashwathama, Kripacharya, and Bhishma. Three Chiranjeevis are there. One will die only when they are, he wishes, Bhishma. Ashwathama and Kripa are Chiranjeevis. They have only one Hanuman as witness among them. Hanuman is on the flag, is the mascot on the flag of Arjuna. So they have only one witness, Hanuman, on their side. We have two, Ashwatthama and Kripacharya. So all these things like that is explaining and consoling himself also, ensuring that Dronacharya's support is 100%. 100% loyalty is ensuring. Like a good general, he is ensuring that. Then he says we have a huge army. Their army is small one, but still our weaknesses are there. There are many in our armor. There are many what is it called? Holes are there. So don't, because Karna has not come for war. Like that, many weaknesses are also there. So do not be careless. Give your 100%. Then Bhishma and Pandava Paksha, they blow the conches. That shows how much, means on the brink of war. Arjuna says, for the last time, I want to see the relatives. They will all be killed, I know. So I want to see them. This is the intention, but what he speaks out is, let me see who will have come to fight me on the side of, he knows very well. He was the ambassador to all the people who had come to support, and also who had come to, he has studied very well. But still, he is asking like this because the real intention is, want to see them for the last time. Now there will be no time. Like that. So the Ratha is, then the terrible possibilities, it dawns on him. On the last moment, the terrible scene that he was seeing, that everybody will be killed. Nothing will be left of our family. That thing, the moha, the fierce attachment which was actually there inside, that just jumped out of Arjuna through his words. That is Arjuna Vishada. And also, it shows the predicaments of great leaders when they have to oppose the existing values and replace them with new values. They should not go into a state of despondency. Should not lose courage to oppose what has to be replaced and bring in what has to be brought in, reforms. Like great reforms were there. In 1947, our country became independent. It was a great change. Those who took responsibility were also taking a great responsibility with shivering hands. And those who were giving up, they were also not willing actually. They were forced to, due to the circumstances and other things. So when the great changes occur, the leaders should not lose their courage and heart to bring in new set of concepts and rules and remove those which are outdated, customs or rules. So this courage leadership has to show. It is an inner struggle also, as you were telling last time. It is an inner struggle, and within, outside also, within and without. The struggle is there. Yad pinde tad brahmande. Whatever is inside, the same is reflected in the society also and in the universe also, our spiritual masters say. So this, I think, in brief, it requires 5 days, 3-hour discourse to fully explain, 12 to 15 hours. So this is in brief what the first chapter mean according to me. There may be others who can add many things.
Gitanjali ji, आपका question next.
हाँ जी, मेरा क्वेश्चन सेकेंड चैप्टर के बिगनिंग से है. So over there, Arjun says to Krishna about Bhishma and Dron. He calls them Dhan Lolup, that with the because of the greed of money, they are fighting on the wrong side of war. And he says, even if they have been greedy for money, but we know better than them. So even for Dron and Bhishma, he says, I respect them, they are my elders and they're my gurus and pitama, but he still calls them dhan lolop. So is that, I mean, of course, it must be the reality, but it hasn't been very much discussed by in a lot of times. I just wanted to know your views on that, whether they were indeed greedy for money.
I will give a brief answer, but this should be carried on for the next time. Anyway, Arjuna cannot say such thing about Bhishma and Drona. Arjuna has not said also. He has said about Atatayana, Attoidana, Atatayana. That has been said about Duryodhana and others who tried to usurp the kingdom and kill them and all. Bhima and Drona were just because of they were being supported by, in their worst times, they were supported by the Kaurava family, and Bhishma was oath bound to protect whoever rules Hastinapura, and Drona was supported by that family, Bhishma and others, at the worst of his time, in the worst period of his time. So, in that, due to that reason only they are supporting. They are not supporting for any other consideration. And neither has Arjuna said that. He has said that about Atatayana means who tries to do six things: land, grab land, insult women, try to set fire, try to snatch wealth, try to take away Godhan, like that. Atatayana is 6 types of Atatayanas. So, what I am saying is, Arjuna is saying about Duryodhana and Dushasana and Shakuni and others, not about Bhishma and Drona. He can't say that about them. And still, he says we should be considerate. We should avoid. We are the good ones and we are the wise ones. So we should avoid this bloodshed and this total destruction of our family system and family values. We must avoid that. That is his final stand. But that is not a good stand for people who are at the top echelon of leadership. They should not the family system and family values and family people. It should be the national people of nation, national values and the national system which they have to protect. Like some leaders these days, they are trying to become rulers to enhance their family wealth and other things, not the other way. They are not there to enhance the national values, strengthen the national system and increase the national wealth. They have to protect the national, they might protect because the military and police will not do anything else. So these things, even Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana must have put up a good show, because more people supported Pandava, Duryodhana than Pandavas. It might have been equal had Madri been this Madrasena, means Shalya, Raja Shalya. Had he not been deceived, tricked into supporting Duryodhana, it might have been 10 and 8 instead of 7 and 11. And had Krishna not been, had not said that my army will not be on my side. My army will be on the opposite side and I will be on one side. Had this condition not been set by Krishna, then Narayani Sena would have also come with the Pandavas and would have been equal tie, 9 and 9. But due to the system, it did not happen. It became 7 and 11. So Duryodhana must have done something good. That people, so many people fought on his side and gave up their lives for him. Madarte Tyakta Jivda, they have given up all hopes of living, surviving for me. Duryodhana confidently says in the beginning itself. Isn't it?
Should we not interpret it as like, even these days, they till a few years ago, there was a lot of support, for example, for our opposition parties. So all the people who are corrupt will support the corrupt. So could it also mean that, majority of the politicians in that era were the corrupt people, and that's why Duryodhana found so much support?
Let us not go there.
बट स्वामी जी, गीतांजलि जी की शब्दों में मुझे बहुत वैलिड निकला, क्योंकि धर्म और अधर्म का लड़ाई था। महाभारत जो था धर्म और अधर्म का लड़ाई था। तो धर्म के साथ तो अच्छे लोग आए, ये तो हम लोग मानते हैं ना। तो अधर्मियों ने साथ दिया दुर्योधन का, इजंट इट? मेरे को पॉइंट वैलिड लगा, आपको क्या लगता है?
नहीं, दुर्योधन के साथ जो खड़े हुए वो अपने अपने जगह पर they followed some principle. Whoever invited them, whatever their indebtedness to Duryodhana, like Karna, he was indebted to Duryodhana. Drona was indebted to Duryodhana. Ashwatthama was standing with his father. Kripacharya was standing with his brother-in-law. See? So all these things are there. So they stood with whoever helped them and other things. So some values they had considered.
Obligations.
And first come, first serve. That also, those who invited them first for the war. So naturally the prestige issue is there, that we were not considered worthy to be invited first by the other side. So we will naturally stand with them. So I am curious to know with whom the South Indians stood.
We will discuss that in the next time. Time is running short. I learned quite a lot of things today. क्योंकि जैसे मैंने बोला है, मैं गीता पढ़ी तो हूँ पर समझी कितनी हूँ भगवान ही जाने. But I learned quite a lot of things. हाँ, सवाल है गीतांजलि जी का जो सवाल है ये नेक्स्ट वीक हम पहले लेंगे, इसी पे चर्चा आगे करेंगे एंड फिर जाके हम दूसरे सवाल आपको पूछेंगे. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपको, धन्यवाद.
One closing slogan.
जी.
Om Sarvopamishado Gavo Dogda Gopala Nandana Partho Valsas Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gidamridam Mahat. And for the world welfare, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschet Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. May all be happy, may all be healthy, may all be secure, and may no one partake any tragedies. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace.
श्रोताओं, क्वेश्चंस रखिए प्लीज और लाइक कीजिए, सब्सक्राइब कीजिए. अगले हफ्ते फिर से मिलेंगे. नमस्कार.
Om Hari Om.